Hello and welcome back to We Met Behind the Castle. I'm your host, Logan Stump, and I am here on July 11th. It is a Thursday, and we are dropping this on Friday, July 12th. I'm back. We took a break from last week as far as the podcast is concerned, and from the videos that I post over on YouTube. It was 4th of July, a very busy 4th of July for myself. I went to Chicago and hung out with my former Disney College program roommate. We met up with our friend that Matt, my program roommate, had met through the program back in 2013. So I did the college program back in 2013. 2015, I came back, and then I ended up in Orlando. I've almost been here for 10 years now. That's really hard to believe. But I met Matt, roomed with him. I roomed with Jordan and Rich. We lived in Chatham. It is no longer they no longer house people in the four that they had. They had the Commons, Chatham, Patterson, and Vista Way. Now they're at Flamingo Crossing for Disney College program. I want to say they closed those right before COVID, and then they built this new area as far as Flamingo, and it's a nicer area. So, but yeah, I met Matt there. Matt's brother, we went to Chicago went and saw a Cubs game. I'm a Cubs fan, so we went to Chicago. Spent the weekend there. Spent a really long weekend there. Got some great food. I'm always looking for different Disney inspired things whenever we go anywhere. This time around, I mean, the only thing that we really saw that was Disney inspired, I did see a bunch of Inside Out Inside Out 2 banners on the L train, on different buses around Chicago. So Disney follows you everywhere, as well as Universal. We saw actually a Minion. What are we on? Minion 4 poster that was right outside. I think I have a picture of it, but I think I didn't really notice what it was at first, but it was really cool. It was like these posters, and it looked like they had just put a bunch of posters together, and it was the same poster. It was Gru and some of the villains from VillainCon, from Despicable Me 3, and they had the advertisement up at this hot dog place that we went to. And it was really cool. Like I thought it was awesome. It was very city advertisement, and it almost looked like, in the movies when they post a bunch of posters all over and it kind of blows in the wind and you can hear that noise. That's what it looked like. But again, the Disney parks, the Universal parks, advertisement for Disney, advertisement for a bunch of the Universal movies. I mean, it follows you, and I think you're more aware of it when you've lived around the theme parks here. But yeah, I had a great time going to Chicago. It's always fun to catch up with Andrew, who lives in Chicago. Matt lives here. I hang out with him all the time. You'll see him if you go to my YouTube channel, We Met Behind the Castle, you'll actually see some of Matt in different episodes. He's been in a lot of episodes. You might see my wife, who I met behind the castle. That's the reason in behind the podcast name and the YouTube channel. It started out as just a fun little play on the fact that we did meet in the Disney College program, and we worked right behind the castle. And that's exactly where I met Ashley, was in the stock room for, if you've ever been to Sir Mickey's, which is where the Jack and the Beanstalk theming is. And they got the big Jack in the Beanstalk kind of giant, like up against the wall, and he's kind of peeking through the building looking for Sir Mickey, I believe. And Sir Mickey's actually in there. Princess Minnie's in there. I think she was dressed as Frozen at one point, and then she had like a pink costume last time. And then there's a photo booth now, or not a photo booth, like a photo op inside where in Sir Mickey's. If you go in there, that's actually where Ashley and I met. It was a stock room. It was like a really small, tiny stock room, and they turned it into like a studio where you can get your photos done. I believe the princesses and princes that come out of Bippity Boppity Boutique, they are the ones that go in there and get photo ops done. It's got photo pass in there, so if you're ever in there, take pictures, tag us. It's a lot of fun because they've turned that into usage of the front facing and for the guest. But that used to be just a really cold room with a computer and some stock shelves and all sorts of different items. But yeah, I mean, it's cool because I've met so many people that still work at Disney that I'm friends with, that still frequent the parks, that are annual pass holders, because we all just kind of stay around Orlando. It's awesome. It's a very cool community. The people that we know, The people around our age, so I'm 31, but the people around our age are people that came down here for pretty much the Disney College program in and around where we live. There's in the communities that we live in or have lived in. There's been cast members that live everywhere that are our next door neighbors all the time. But if you're thinking about Orlando and you're going to do the Disney College program, just I guess the reason why I'm going on the rant is you'll make friends forever. The Disney College program is still, I think, one of the best programs and internships that you could possibly have. You go, you can take classes with Disney. You can get mentors on your program. You can actually reach out to your leadership teams and get mentors, which we had a couple that I had a couple people that I met with that worked in resorts because I thought that's where my career was headed. It is not where I headed and ended up, but I think it's a really good program. You meet a ton of people, and really, I mean, the city just it captures you in more ways than not. I think Orlando, when I moved here in 2013, I moved back to Charleston, where I'm from, to finish out school in South Carolina. And Charleston's a beautiful city. If you've not been, it's one of the best cities I think in the world. And that might just be a personal opinion, but I love everything about Charleston. But it was not Orlando, and I always said that I was like I got bored, and that sounds funny, but I got bored. I think it'd be really hard to leave Orlando, and it's really hard to leave Orlando. That's why I think people get I wouldn't say stuck here. That's why people get here and they don't want to leave, is because there's just so much to do. I can't imagine, weekends, and Matt and I talked about this as we are flying up. Matt and I talked about the fact that, living here, and once you make that move, it's hard to go back. It really is. It's hard to go back because there's just, I can't just whip over to Epcot on the weekends if I lived somewhere else in the United States. So again, Orlando is, and I'll always sell Orlando to people. It is hot, but and very crowded now, but it is still the place that we love being, and we hope that you all love being, and we know that you love being here in Orlando because you come visit, you come listen to this, you come watch the YouTube channel, and we know just how special this place is for a number of reasons. Everybody's got their own. And we're going to talk about a couple of them actually today, because there's a couple of big staple things that are happening that we need to talk about. We're getting into that time of year. We're getting into the best. I always say this: the best time of year starts in August, even though August is our most word month. It is, as far as events, it's our best month. So let's get into it. Let's get into our first topic, and that is going to be the Eat to the Beat concert series. We did have, I don't know why my slides are not saving, so we're going to skip all these, and we're going to jump around. You know what? Actually, let's just go in order, because that's going to throw me off the rest of the show. So we're actually going to go in order. We're going to go and start over at the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. So if you're not watching the video of the podcast, the video version, it is on YouTube. So I do post a video version, because I'll post some pictures with on different, or slides with different pictures on it, to kind of go with and kind of even out the screen a little bit here. I am still interested in seeing if I want to do this with a co-host. So if you're interested in joining the podcast, then just kind of DM me, reach out to me, whatever it might be, comment in the video comments below. But yeah, the first one that we're going to talk about, we'll go in order. So this will be a surprise for all of us, because my notes are in a certain order, but the slides, for some reason, I think it's because I haven't exited out of the window, it's not picking up the fact that I changed the order. So we're just going to go for it. We're going to wing it. It's going to go out of order. Disney, Universal, we got some Universal announcements as well. But all sorts of things happening at Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando, sorry. But this first one is the Disney Fort Wilderness Resort. So these are the new cabins that are coming to Walt Disney World. And if you can see on the screen, if not, I kind of could describe them to you. They're definitely a modern take on kind of these rustic cabins that used to exist. If you're familiar with the Fort Wilderness cabins, they were outdated, I would say. They had a lot of the greens, a lot of the dark wood. It was very dark inside of some of the cabins. It definitely still had that 1990s, when they were built, 2000s, early 2000s, I guess, kind of look to them. I would say that the modernization hadn't really done much for them. And again, I probably should have looked up when the actual cabins were built themselves. But that being said, Disney did remove all the old um, classic cabins, and they're adding in these new modern ones. They're very, I would almost say, small home ish. Um, I think they look beautiful. I know that the reaction online to these were about 50-50. I think it's hard, and change is always hard, I think, in the theme parks, and I think that's where you get um, a lot of the, I guess, negative, not really negativity, but a lot of the discussion comes from the fact that people just, I think they get so used to something, and then because it's Disney, you do feel this kind of nostalgic, right? Like you're nostalgia, and you become nostalgic for some of these things on Disney property, and I think so. If you were a frequent visitor of the cabins at Fort Wilderness, then yeah, I think it's kind of a bummer, right? You'd be kind of bummed because they have changed it, and you have so many memories, and the smells and the sounds and the sights and the, different colors and the color schemes, or maybe you have one of the best memories there because your family was there, or one night you guys spent time by the fire pit, and that you really missed that aspect of it, and the kitchen, maybe you had a great conversation. I mean, yeah, different things like that, right? I think that's where, and it happens with not only resorts, it happens with the rides. Like I think we've had that happen quite a bit with Splash Mountain. People have great memories, fond memories. Ashley and I used to ride Splash Mountain all the time, and we always used to make it. Um, it was kind of like a tradition, I guess you could say. Whenever we would go to the Halloween parties or the Christmas parties, we'd always get on the ride because nobody ever really got on that ride because it wasn't overlaid, it wasn't themed any special. Like I think a lot of it was like, especially Halloween, we got on it because it took a photo. And before I had the memory maker, which you got free ride photos. Well, you paid for the actual service, but then you got the free ride photos for the year with your annual pass. um, I think it's the same thing with these cabins. There's a lot of reaction online, but I mean, I'm looking at this right from a perspective of like I've never seen the cabins, right? I never saw the old cabins. These are really, really good looking cabins. They look a lot more spacious. They're not as big, I don't think, as the previous cabins, but because of the big windows, because of the really high ceilings, because of the light, because of the mix of dark tones with light tones, with the woodsy kind of feel, it still one feels like a cabin, a modern cabin, one that you would stay in nowadays in the mountains in Chattanooga or wherever you might vacation and go to the mountains, Asheville. Um, and I mean, honestly, I think looking at these, you're like, wow, these are beautiful on the inside. And I know a lot of people have had um, comments about when they've redone some of these rooms, and a lot of the resorts have gone through room renovations. I would say that I would say that most, if not all of them, have now gone through some kind of modernization, or they are currently going underneath this refurbishment where they're modernizing the interiors of the hotel rooms. But people are like, "Well, they're taking away the Disney feel of them," and they're really not. Like, I've never felt that. I actually feel like they're doing a much better job of being intentional about the design elements, and if you go into some of these new rooms, you can see where they've implemented different design elements that are nods to whatever it might be themed after. So, for instance, we actually went to and we had a staycation at Port Orleans Riverside, and we went to the new princess rooms, and I know that those are supposed to be a little bit more themed, but, like, everything was themed, everything. Like, you go from outside in the heat and, it looks like a normal hallway to a hotel that's outdoors, has an outdoor entranceway, and, the doors are themed and the buildings are themed really well. They do, look like those big colonial looking houses, that you would see in the South. And on the inside, I mean, from start to finish, as soon as you close that door in behind you, up on the light fixtures are Mickey's heads or like the princess crowns or whatever it might be. I mean, from the ground up, everything in that room had some kind of nod to Disney, like characters, or they were intentional about like the way they were themed based on where they were trying to, I guess, display or convey through their theming the different regions in the United States, this being the South because it was Port Orleans Riverside. So If you look at these photos, I mean, they've got Mickey and Minnie in a lot of these pictures. They've got Mickey's heads on a couple of things. They've got just different aspects of it. Chip and Dale later on that I'll show you. But I mean, these look great. I love the outdoor seating area. It looks very light. It's got a picnic table out there. I enjoy that. Look, it's got a real long balcony. It was more of like a ramp and then like a smaller porch area in front of the older cabins. This is like a full blown, you have a whole like seating area on these balconies or these front porches that you're going to enter the cabins through. Those windows also look like they open up or down or sideways, or like they swing out, um, which I mean, that's amazing. The couch that faces out that way, you got the giant TV screen if you really want to watch TV. But I love that the furniture is kind of positioned here where you can look out onto the campgrounds over at Fort Wilderness. You can probably see the golf carts that are driving by. They do a lot of fun, festive things around the holidays. If you've never been to Fort Wilderness, I highly recommend going. I you can get to Fort Wilderness pretty darn easily too. Um, Typically with deluxe resorts or some of these higher end resorts, they don't really want you, and the campgrounds can be this way a little bit sometimes too, but moderate in value, I've never really had issues with, but they want you to explore the resorts. And besides the Magic Kingdom resorts, they're pretty good about letting you in and letting you kind of explore these if you want to. Um, it's one of them. It's become one of our favorite things to do. Is the parks are crowded. It's fun to kind of go through the different resorts and look at different things, especially around the holidays. Whether that be they do stuff for Easter, they'll do some stuff for Halloween. They'll do a ton for Christmas. I think every resort has a Christmas tree that they do that's themed after their resorts. Um, you've got different activities that they do, recreation activities that they do that are themed to the holidays. They'll play holiday music. They've got different things that they'll do as far as entertainment and holidays are concerned. Easter, they do a big thing for Easter at a lot of the Magic Kingdom and Epcot resorts. So definitely check out the resorts. But if you have never seen Fort Wilderness, it's like taking a break from Central Florida. It does not feel, besides the weather, obviously, it does not feel like Florida. It's in the woods. I mean, you really do feel like you're in the woods that it could be at the foothills of the mountains. Um, they have different bus stops. There's tons of places to kind of get out and explore. They've got buses that stop at each of the different campsites and campground areas, and they've got different pools. They've got recreation. They've got boats that you can get on, kayaks. Like, I mean, it would be. It's kind of like a big summer camp. That's how I'd explain it. They got tennis ball, pickleball, hoop de doo. I think we'll do a video one time and kind of wander out there because there's so much to see. Try to Circle Ranch is out there, um, and you do or Try Circle D Ranch is out there, and you can do horseback riding. You can get out and kind of explore the campgrounds on horseback a little bit. They've got the carriage rides out there. Hoop de doo is, I think, still kind of a hidden gem. I don't think enough people know about it. It is a pricier meal to get into. It's all you can eat. Comfort food, fried chicken, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese. I think there's green beans. There's a veggie option. And then strawberry shortcake. The best part though is it's a show. It is a folk show. It is a ton of fun. It's very interactive. And I'm always hesitant to tell people about it because it's so good. And it's not that difficult to get seats. It is a little bit pricier. I think it's like upwards of 65 dollars an adult, or per person, and yeah, but again, the campsite's great place to go and visit, and I mean, look at these new cabins. They really are unbelievable. They've got bunk beds, 2 bunk beds, and, you can kinda see the art that's in behind the bunk beds here. It's got, I believe that's Dale that is sitting. I can't see the nose with how small the image is on my screen here, but he's sleeping in his little, I guess, tree hole that he kind of nestled in there, maybe slumbering away in the winter. But he's enjoying the wilderness. and I think it's adorable theming. It's you can kind of see it on the right hand side where the bunk beds are. They're up. It's kind of that art that's up above. You can see the moon. And then looking at the kitchen, I believe the kitchen is actually more space than they used to have in the other kitchens that were in the other cabins. And definitely more modern. Obviously, you got a lot better appliances um, in a full kitchen there. So a full size oven, perfect for campers that love to bake traditional family favorites during the holiday season. This is also a place where you can park your RV. So maybe you want a cabin and an RV, or maybe you just want to stay in your RV, head out to Fort Wilderness and explore. But yeah, there's always big RVs that are here for weeks on end, months on end, sometimes, depending. Um, and then you buy the lot, or you rent. Sorry, you don't rent it. You you book the lot for your stay, and they put you on different campgrounds and things like that. So if you're interested in checking out Fort Wilderness, definitely do it. I highly recommend it, especially with all these new upgrades that are coming. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I want to get maybe a couple more things here. You can, Suzanne, what's her name? Suzanne, who is, darn, I lost her name on my sheet. I believe it's, I know they were talking about, okay, so the quote is much of the design, I think it's the woman that was in charge of the design of the cabins. Her first name is Suzanne. I've lost her last name. I didn't put it in there, but much of the design aspect came from Circle D, try Circle D Ranch, which is a more refined woodsy feel. So you will still have the wood on the ceiling, floor, and furniture, but it's a lighter wood, more refined cut with the touch of black metal accents throughout, which you'll also see at Tri Circle D. So Tri Circle D is their big ranch house that you can go visit. You can actually pet the horses, you can ride the horses, you can talk to the horses. I think caretakers is what they call them, but you can go and talk to them in the stable, and just learn all sorts of different facts about these horses. You can actually visit the ones that do the cars on Main Street, that do like the trolleys. You can sometimes they are back or they are there when they're taking a break, but they have the big horses that pull those. I would try to guess at what the horses types of horses they are, but I actually don't know. Um, but yeah, so again, that's really it. I think as far as the I don't want to get too far ahead here, but I think that's it for the updates as far as the cabins are concerned. They are opening up to the public very soon, so you'll be able to book these. And so, whoa, Ashley, that's kind of scary because Insidious was next up, and we're going to talk Insidious, and then Ashley's face kind of popped up back here in the back. So that was horrifying. But yeah, so we're gonna jump ahead. And actually we'll talk a little bit about this because um I don't believe, yeah, I don't think we don't have any video, or sorry, any pictures of this. So I'm just gonna keep it on this for now. I gotta get these slides better next time. I don't know what happened, but they did not save in the order that they should have. Disney is getting year-round cruising in Japan, so Japan vacations are coming where you can cruise year-round instead of certain parts of the year. Disney Cruise fans will be excited to learn that they can now start to book on July 9th, or sorry, early as 2029. This was announced on July 9th, but you can expect to begin booking cruises and cruising in 2029. Yes, I know that's a long way away, but that's going to come pretty quick. They did reach a new agreement with Oriental Land Company that will bring year-round cruising to Japan. Under the signed agreement, OLC, which is the Oriental Land Company, will build and operate Disney-branded cruise business in Japan, expected to begin again by early 2029. This latest evolution in Disney's over 40-year relationship with OLC, which owns the magical Tokyo Disney Resort. A new Disney cruise ship to be registered and based in Japan year-round will be constructed at Meyer Werft shipyard in Papenburg, Germany, which um, with imaginative designs created by Walt Disney Imagineering. A sister ship To the popular wish will feature many guest favorite venues and experiences from the ship that will, with select modifications specifically designed with Japanese guests in mind. So it's a huge ship. It's going to have 120 or 1,250 um, staterooms, which is a big ship, I believe. Um, but I am looking forward to seeing what this is. I'm interested to see what they mean by geared towards Japanese guests. What type of experiences that is. I'm trying to think because I don't I don't really know. They don't really have a Japanese based franchise, do they? I'm sure. I don't think so. I don't know. If you know, drop it in the comments below because I know they have some Asian films or movies that are based on Asian princesses, like Mulan. I think Turning Red is also Chinese. Um, I guess the closest thing they would have is Baymax, right? Like Big Hero 6, because that was Tadashi. Um, and Tadashi's that his name's Japanese. So I don't know. San Francisco. So I think it's like a combination, right? That'd be kind of cool, right? If they had, because Baymax is technically Marvel. So that'd be a lot of fun if the cruise ship was, because I love Baymax. So yeah, leave some comments below. Are you excited about this? Anybody going to venture out there? I know there's a lot of people that are big time cruise aficionados, cruise ship aficionados, especially Disney. I know there's a lot of people that try to get on all the Disney cruise ships. So let me know in the comments below. I know Matt's a big time cruiser, Matt and Rachel, who have done quite a bit of cruising lately. And I've also done some cruises on some Disney cruise lines and really enjoy them. So yeah. So Matt, maybe if you're listening, are you going to go on this? I haven't even asked you because this was relatively new information that we got here. But let's jump forward. All right. I think we're going to skip that one. We're going to jump to, let's go ahead and get to Inside Out 2. All right. So we're going to jump and talk about Inside Out 2. And it has become the highest grossing film in the long and distinguished history of Pixar, the studio behind this animated phenomenon. The hit family film, and I grabbed this off of, I believe it was Fandango. The hit family film has earned 125 billion globally and passed Incredibles 2, the animation studio's previous record holder, with 1.24 billion dollars worldwide over its run. Inside Out 2 now ranks as the fourth highest animated film of all time, behind Frozen at Frozen had 1.29 billion dollars. The Super Mario Brothers movie was a 1.36 billion, and Frozen 2 is a 1.45 billion. The Frozen franchise was released by Walt Disney Animation Studios, which shares a parent company with Pixar, while Super Mario Brother is obviously produced by Illumination and Universal. Domestically, Inside Out 2 has earned $543.5 million dollars, and its international gross stands at $708 million dollars. It's crushing it internationally. And I actually saw like a dub. It wasn't a dub. Well, I guess maybe it is. I don't know. What do they call it when they've translated it into, I think it was Korean that I saw it in, and it was a lot of fun to watch because obviously I don't know the language, but they sound different too. And I do know that they actually have sometimes some of the character or some of the actors or actresses speak in different languages for some of the parts. But yeah, Inside Out 2 again, crushing it. It's going to become one of the top movies I think ever worldwide, which is absolutely incredible to say for an animated film. But it's now catching all of the top ones. So it beats The Incredibles 2. It now sits atop, and we did see it, and it was very good. I really enjoyed it. I actually liked Inside Out, the original, better, but Inside Out 2 is a different kind of story. I feel like Inside Out, if you hadn't seen it yet, I spoil not spoilers here. Inside Out felt very much more emotional, like this emotional, almost like touching your heart kind of thing, where sadness plays a bigger part, and joy and sadness are kind of the emotions that Riley is feeling, and kind of like this nostalgic, and because she's moved. Inside Out 2 is dealing more with anxiety. and that's all I'll say about that one. So you can see in the art kind of the gist of it. But again, if you haven't seen this movie, definitely head out and see it. If you hadn't seen it for the fifth time, definitely go out and see it again because um, it truly is a very well written, very well done film, and I can't wait to see it come to Disney Plus because I can't wait to watch it again. But yeah, definitely go check out Inside Out too, because it's one that will not soon forget as far as Disney animation is concerned. Okay, kind of spoiling some of the stuff that we're going to talk about, but another thing that was announced, that I just kinda wanted to go over a little bit. So, Horizons, is now what they're calling the showcase that is gonna be taking place. So, D23 is coming up. I meant to Google, 1 second. D23. So, the Horizons, part of the D23 Expo this year is the showcase. So Disney's Experience Showcase. So this is Josh tomorrow. Josh is going to get up and he's going to talk about the different experiences that are happening around the world. He'll update us on some of the different things that are happening around the world as far as attractions are concerned, lands that are being built, updates to projects that are going to, I would not be shocked if he got up there and talked about this new Japan voyage that we talked about. Um, I'm sure he'll talk a little bit about Test Track, obviously, give some updates there. I could see him going back and talking a little bit about Epcot as well, and just kind of the direction that Epcot is in and headed in now that it's completed. But for the most part, it's gonna in the past, it has been the parks and resort I guess, announcements or exciting things that are coming. This is where they announce these things. This D23 is a huge expo. It's taking place in Anaheim, right beside Disneyland at their convention center there. It's August 9th, 10th, and 11th. It is this Horizons or like the park announcements are always that second day, it seems. And they do all sorts of different things. It's the ultimate Disney fan event, and you can go see, you can go meet different voice actors. You can go meet different actors from Disney. They have like the places where you can go meet them and get autographs and take pictures and all that stuff, like they would have at a con. They have merchandise. They'll have exclusive merchandise. They'll have third party merchandise. I know Her Universe is usually there. I know like Tommy Bahama, Lily Pulitzer stuff, but they also have like Funkos usually there. They've got all the companies that kind of partner with Disney that do Disney specific merchandise or Disney specific food. They'll have some food options and like snacks and stuff there as well. It's a really cool event. I can't wait to go for the first time. I always just watch the videos of people going. Um, but if you're a true Disney fan, I feel like you had to go at some point. And I think if we were going somewhere in the new year, I think we would have maybe have considered it this time because the I was actually pretty on top of it this year where I saw the tickets. I could have bought the tickets if I wanted and the flights, and they weren't actually that bad. Like the pricing wasn't that bad. But definitely one time, maybe next year, or not next year. I think they skip years. I think, but maybe soon, right? I think the next one technically is in the fall, or in August, but I think it's here in Walt Disney World. I could be wrong. Um, but I do know that they do this. I don't think it's every year. I think it's every other year. But looking forward to it because Horizons, and again, we're not going to try to speculate here. There's been a lot of talk, and we can kind of talk about what Josh said the last time at D20. I think it was last year, so I think they do it yearly. But Josh talked a lot about Blue Sky, and Blue Sky was this end of a presentation where he got up and he talked about things that they have discussed but not actively pursued as far as the Disney parks were concerned. And two of them, one was the expansion at Disney's Animal Kingdom, where they were going to add Moana attractions. I think they were going to put Zootopia stuff as well. So that was a rumor. And then it became reality when Josh talked about it about in Blue Sky. And now we sit and wait. Um, if there's confirmation that's coming, So we'll see about that one. The other one that they talked about that was rumored and then became reality at the Blue Sky was the expansion behind Big Thunder Mountain. So there's been tons of speculation that Thunder Mountain's undergoing or is going to go undergo some refurbishment. And what does that mean? Are they looking at, adding different things back there? Expansion to Magic Kingdom? Could they add Encanto, which I think was the rumor? A lot of people rumored or were speculating that villains could be back there as well. Um, those were the 2 that I can remember that they were discussing as far as Blue Sky, but I don't really like to get into a ton of speculation just because I think it's more fun to just kinda sit and react to the different things that they announce, and, I think it's tough to get really excited about things that are just rumor and speculation anyway. But those 2 sounded like the most concrete that they had thought of. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at Horizons. But they'll talk about all the world's parks. They'll talk about Disneyland, California. They'll talk about Disneyland Tokyo, Paris, and Hong Kong, Shanghai. Um, and any kind of expansion that they're doing at the resorts. I know, I think a couple years ago, Vero Beach got updated, which was pretty cool. I think Hilton Head also had some announcements years ago. So I don't know. Just stay tuned. Once August hits, we'll probably go live after. I'm hoping we can kind of go live there, or maybe on that Sunday, and go live after Josh does the panel and react. But we'll definitely be like live tweeting it or doing some TikToks and stuff on that as well. So find us on all the socials. We're at TikTok as well, where we're building a nice little base there. It talks about Disney parks. So, yeah, I think that's it for Disney, and you probably have seen the Insidious, sorry, yeah, I know it's an alarming switch. So if you're not into Insidious, you might wanna fast forward a little bit here. So, we did get a ninth house over at Universal Studios Orlando, and we are moving on to Universal now. So, yeah, Insidious announced officially. We got the trailer. It was a freaky trailer. Insidious is a terrifying looking movie. I've not seen any of them, to be honest with you, but I did want to go through this because I know there are some Insidious fans and some really big fans out there of these films. So we're going to talk about them. The Insidious house is called Insidious Further, The Further, and it will take place throughout all of the films in the franchise. So there's 5 currently. I'm assuming they're not done. I don't know that. I could be wrong because you could be like, Logan, be quiet. They killed off somebody in the last one. Um, but I don't know. There's 5 of them. Why not keep making more, right? Fast and Furious. Um, but yeah, enter the further as demons try to ensnare you. The red faced demon will lure you into his lair. Keyface will unlock your fears and more. And that was the official announcement as far as the text is concerned underneath the Insidious announcement. Insidious movies. So there was one in 2010, the first one, and it was the first in the series. This film sets the eerie tone of this franchise and introduces us to the Lambert family. Insidious Chapter 2, 2013, released 3 years after the first movie, it offers a deeper exploration into the supernatural realm first introduced in the original film. Insidious Chapter 3, 2015. This prequel takes us back before the haunting of the Lambert family and revealing more about the ghostly entities. And then the fourth movie was the Insidious The Last Key in 2018. This film delves into the backstory of sidekick Elise Rayner, expanding our universe or understanding of the series Ghostly Universe. And then Insidious The Red Door was released in 2023, so last year. A gripping new chapter in the Insidious saga, The Red Door takes audience deeper into the spine-chilling, ghostly universe. Um, Everything that I know about this Insidious is terrifying. I know a lot of people might not visit the house because of demons. I know Ashley's very hesitant about doing demons or ghost kind of things, like houses or possession. I'm all for it. I like a good scare. I think it's a lot of fun. I'll definitely probably watch these with the lights on and in the sunlight, but I can be kind of a chicken at times when it comes to horror. But I mean, I'm thrilled. We knew this was on the radar because obviously the spec maps drop. And again, I don't like to speculate too much, but I can't help it. But with HHN because it's just so much fun. Um, but yeah, ninth house is confirmed. I'm pretty sure the next one is the Universal Monsters. We just don't know which one. I'm constantly checking the Twitterverse because I'm always afraid, especially now because we had even bigger news that we're getting ready to talk about as far as the tickets are concerned. So everything was dropped. I think it's kind of unusual that they didn't drop the scare zones or the houses at the same time they did with Insidious because people are buying tickets now and a lot of tickets. We'll get into that one too. But um yeah, I think it'll be interesting because I think people really do like this franchise. We do have 6 original houses this year. We have Ghostbusters announced. We have Insidious announced. I'm missing one. Ghostbusters, Insidious. You'll have the Universal Monsters. Who's the other? Oh, Quiet Place. Um, I really liked Quiet Place, and I think the house will be really good. I think it'll be shockingly good. I think a lot of people are kind of negative towards it because they're like, "Well, they're supposed to be quiet the whole time. How scary could it be? Those monsters are scary." Insidious is going to be really freaky. It sounds like this is going to be in the area where I believe it was Dueling Dragons last year. Is that what? Yeah, Dueling Dragons last year. That big in the hallway is like the big black curtain. People are convinced that it's going to be the Tiptoe Through the Tulip song that you're listening to walking through. So that'll be cool. We actually had a friend that used to sing that song in Fantasyland and skip through like the main courtyard back there. And it was kind of terrifying. Not gonna lie to you. Um, so I'm excited about Insidious. I can't wait to watch the movies. I gotta get on it. There's 5 of them, and like, guys, HHN starts next month. Like, that's crazy to think that we're already to August or almost to August. I mean, we're midway through July. When this drops, it'll be a Friday, the 12th. And I mean, we're knocking on the door of Halloween Horror Nights. But I don't know. I'm really excited about this. And every episode I really like to do kind of like a fun factor, maybe diving deeper into a subject or just kind of like a general knowledge thing. And I thought this would be the area that we would jump in a little bit. So right, I was googling what would be the best way to watch Insidious because like there's prequels and stuff. So I think I'm gonna watch them in chronological order. I'm not going to watch them in the order of release. So I'm going to start with Insidious Chapter 3. So I found this on Fandango. So if you want to watch them in chronological order, they said that it's a much better understanding of the background and like this realm and then understanding the stories that go on afterwards. So this is my fun one. So here is the chronological order. You probably could tell based off of what we just read. But the first one that you'll watch is Insidious Chapter 3 in 2015. Um, Insidious: The Last Key, which was released in 2018. Insidious, the original, which was the first and released in 2011. Yet Insidious Chapter 2, which released in 2013. And then Insidious Red Door, which was the movie that was released last year. So I'm going to watch these in order. I think it makes more sense. There, it looks like there's characters that appear in the movies out, and because they were not released, some of the chronological order ones were kind of released out of order as far as release dates. So actually, there was a movie but there was a couple of movies in between the first and second Insidious, and then this last one was kind of a bounce back to the family that it originally was about. So I'm going to watch it in chronological order. I'm going to see how that goes. You can do that with me if you want, and drop in the comments below if you watched it in chronological order or if you've seen these in chronological order or saw these as they were released. Anybody a huge Insidious fan? Was anybody absolutely head over heels when they announced this for Universal Studios? And then I guess what are we excited about the fact that we could get some tiptoeing through some tulips there at the beginning of the house, because I think that would be a really cool, one of the coolest walk ups to a house, I think, if we got that song. So I'm looking forward to it. Love that. Love the announcement. Really excited about Insidious. Can't wait to see that. I think it might end up high on my list. It's going to be pretty freaky, I think. So looking forward to it. Now, let's get into the I think probably the biggest news that we've gotten um, over the last couple weeks that we haven't recorded, and that is it actually happened today. The All the tickets for HHN 2024 HHN 33 have been released. So we have some frequent fear, we have prices. We're going to talk about them, and we're going to talk about something else that has happened because um, something interesting is going on in the water over there at Universal Studios. So let's talk about it. Let's talk some Halloween Horror Nights. Let's get into some ticket pricing, some thoughts on some of these tickets because I think we can really dive into some of these because I have now used the Frequent Fear Plus. I've used Express. Um, we have friends that have used the Russia Fear Pass, which is the September pass. So I feel like we can really jump into talking about some of these in depth. I would love to do. I want to do an unmasking tour. I want to definitely do an RIP tour at some point in my life. I think the unmasking tour is obviously next up on the list. We'll talk about Premium Scream Night because I've got some thoughts there um, because of what Universal has released today, um, and some information that's come out, and some, I guess, a trend. I don't know, like, no, I guess not trend. I guess things have happened today as the Frequent Fear Plus passes and Frequent Fear passes were dropped. So we're going to talk about them. So let's get into it. I've got the screen up here and you can see them if you're looking at the visual version on YouTube. So the first one that we'll talk about, and I'm always going to say starting at because Universal does flex these ticket prices, and they are different um, depending on the night that you go. Um, I'm pulling up the ticket prices because I guess I'll give you the starting date and then I'll look and see if it's easy to do because sometimes it's not hard, it's not easy to do because Universal has like the way that their menus are set up, it can be harder to navigate to see some things. But so Halloween Horror Nights, it does start on, when was that? August. It's a Thursday. Hold on, let me pull it. I think it's the 29th. Yeah, August 29th is a Thursday, and that is the premium Scream Night. So, um, the first night of HHN is um, technically a Scream Night, premium Scream Night. And again, we talked about premium Scream Night over on TikTok, but basically what it is all you can eat, all you can drink non-alcoholic beverages, pulsating through the lines, or not pulsing through the lines. Um, at Halloween Horror Nights. So, they're letting you in party by party or trying to do their best to do that. Um, and what else? Shorter lines, limited capacity, obviously. It is a lot of money, starting at $350 to go to this premium Scream Night, and it's in the middle of our screen here. But that starts and that kicks off Halloween Horror Nights 33. Sorry, my web browser is not wanting to pick up Horror Nights. So again, that's on the 29th, that premium Scream Night. Um, and then after that, we get going with Halloween Horror Nights. So it starts in August this year, which is brand new. It's never done that. Um, it's usually opening on or around Labor Day weekend. It's usually the first weekend is Labor Day, but this year they're going a little earlier, and I think that's great. I'm interested to see if they'll go even earlier. People are like, "Well, no, I don't think so, right? Because it's August." Mickey's Not So Scary starts like August 9th. And I know it's a little different, but like, because you're closing down a whole park for this one. Well, you're what I don't know what I'm talking about. You're doing the same thing at Magic Kingdom. Um, so again, it'll be interesting to see with Epic Universe opening if Universal starts to get a little bit more of like, let's do a couple more weeks earlier than we did. I could see them going through that first whole week of or that last week of August, the 23rd, 24th, whatever it might be in that year, but maybe one more week earlier. But I'm just hoping because I love it so much. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite events here at Orlando, in Orlando. So yeah, single night tickets are on sale. They start at $83 and upwards of 100, and that is not including tax on some of those. The premium Scream Night again is Thursday, August 29th, and that is $350 plus tax. I think annual pass holders get a $25 discount. So I think it ends up being like around $340 for annual pass holders. There are still tickets available for that one. And I'll preface that because later on we're going to talk about something that's not available right now. Halloween Horror Nights Express Pass. So the separate Express Pass start at $150 per Express Pass. That's an individual Express Pass. So one night you purchase it, you use it that night. Um, I want to be clear that that is the only way that you get Express Pass right now, because the other passes with Express no longer are being sold. So we'll get into that. Halloween Horror Nights RIP tour starting at $369 a person. So pretty expensive for RIP tours. Almost $400 per person now. Halloween Horror Nights Behind the Screams Unmasking the Horror Tour starting from 900 and or sorry 900 that yeah people would never go $99 and above per person, depending on the ticket. I think the three person one, or sorry, the three house one is like $100. I think the six house unmasking the tour one ends up being like 120 or 130 or something like that. It's definitely a little bit more pricey, but that is a daytime VIP tour with the lights on, and you get to take a look at all the houses, and there is a tour guide, and they tell you all about the houses and the design. And I think that sounds really fun because Lord knows I'm not looking at the houses at night when I'm walking through them and being scared because I can't see half of the stuff because I'm too worried about getting scared. Halloween Horror Nights Scream Early ticket is $55 per person. If you have an annual pass, please don't buy this. Like, I don't speak for the company, but you do not buy this if you have a annual pass to Universal Studios, because you have what is called Stay and Scream, which they haven't announced is definitely a thing, but like I think I haven't seen it anywhere where it's been announced, but I'm assuming it's back. I doubt they would ever get rid of that because it's a perk that was told to us for annual Universal annual passes. So I'm assuming it's back every year, which is great. I mean, if you have an annual pass, it is one of the best perks for an annual pass holder, and Universal does such a wonderful job with that. As far as perks for pass holders, like there's tons of them. Pass holders get like 35 or 30% off of hotel packages and stuff for Halloween Horror Nights. It's unbelievable. Like Florida residents too, they get really good deals at Universal Studios for their hotels, for their tickets as well. So definitely check that out. But yeah, $55, starting from $55. You can get that early night access, and it starts from 3 to 5 p.m. At 5 p.m., or sorry, you get into Universal Studios starting at 3 to 5, and then at 5 p.m. you're going to get in line for with the Stay and Scream where the annual pass holders are. So yeah, Stay and Scream must be his thing because it's mentioned in that one. So not that I ever thought it was going away, but sometimes you get worried. But yeah, you can enter into that. You get into um, ooh, that's a tough one. So if guests arrive at Universal Studios after 5 p.m., if they buy this ticket, you do not get a refund. No refund. So yikes. Um, yeah, be on time, I guess, is the real thing, right? So okay, moving on to the next one. And this is where we get into our frequent fear passes. So the Halloween Horror Nights Rush of Fear get access to up to 18, the first 18 event nights of terror and save. When you buy online, you will need to select the start date from the pass. The first visit and must be on or after the selected start date, and guests will have access to all remaining Halloween Horror Nights. The eligible event dates are going to be August 30th, 31st, September 1st, 4th through the 8th, 11th through the 15th, and 18th through the 22nd. So if you're doing Rush of Fear, if you're coming down and you're visiting during September and you want to go to Horror Nights a couple times, and this is what Andrew and Darren will often buy, our friends that we went to Chicago with. They'll buy these Rush of Fear passes. They're great. September is a quiet month for Halloween Horror Nights. Quiet. It'd still be crowded, but like It's way different in October. If you've ever been to Halloween Horror Nights in September and October, totally different animals. And the dates in November, they're great times to go. So if you're in Orlando in November, November 3rd, I think is the last night that they're doing Horror Nights this year. Go to the November date. Do it. We did it last year. It was amazing. It was pretty darn empty because nobody's celebrating HHN and Horror Nights and Halloween after Halloween. So it was great. Definitely recommend it. Speaking of which, Halloween Horror Nights Frequent Fear Pass, get access to up to 30 nights. Save when you buy online. So definitely head over and do that. The eligible event dates August 30th through the 31st, September 1st, 4th through the 5th, 8th, 11th through the 12th, 15th, 18th through the 19th, the 22nd, 25th through the 26th, and the 29th. You also get in October 2nd, 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 10th, 13th, 16th, and 17th, 20th, 23rd, and 4th, 27th, 30th, and the 31st, and November 3rd. And that ticket is starting from $239.99 plus tax. And that's per person. Then you have the pass that I go with, that Matt will go with, and it is the Halloween Horror Nights Frequent Fear Plus Pass. Get access to 40 nights of Halloween Horror Nights, August 30th and 31st, September 1st, 4th through the 6th, 8th, 11th through the 13th, 15th, 18th through the 20th, 22nd, 25th through the 27th, and 29th. October 2nd through the 4th, 6th, 9th through the 11th, 13th, 16th through the 18th, 20th, the 23rd through the 25th, 27th, and 30th through the 31st of October. And I clipped this off, and the November 3rd date will be included with that one as well. So that starts at $289.99 plus tax. So pretty good price for that one. I mean, it's a large sum, but these are roughly around the same kind of prices that we paid last year for them. So not too much of an increase, or noticeable, that is. And I know they probably did increase a little bit, but for me, I mean, it's the one that I really look forward to each year, and it's the event that I always want to go to. So I'm willing to spend a little bit more anyway. So really excited about that. I go with Frequent Fear Plus because it's 40 nights, less blackouts. Best nights to go, honestly, weekdays. Thursday, Friday. Friday's better than Saturday. Saturdays, we don't get Saturdays with the Frequent Fear Plus, but Saturdays are crazy. Um, I've been on a couple Saturdays. The opening weekend, they actually let you go on Saturdays, and yeah, it's very busy. Sunday, not so busy, especially as it gets later into the evening. And then sometimes, like randomly, they'll do weekdays if they've got hurricanes or like they've got to move the event for some reason. Those are good nights too. But yeah, I would definitely recommend September. Go in September a ton. Get your get HHN out in September. That's what Ashley's doing. And then October it does pick up. I mean, it really does. There's a lot of people at Universal in October. I'm interested to see because some things have happened. Again, we'll talk about them after this next one. We'll talk about what's going on, but because we got to talk about Ultimate Fear. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I would definitely do September. October's tough. Halloween weekend, oof, that is a rough one. It is very crowded around Halloween. But then in November hits. November's great. The last day of November was fantastic. We had a good time last time. Again, Stay and Scream is your best friend. If you have annual passes, do not miss Stay and Scream. Ashley and I would get so Ashley and I was like, you know what? I don't want to say this too loud. I don't need to buy an express pass if I've got frequent fear. Not frequent fear. Yeah, well, frequent fear. But if I've got an annual pass and Stay and Scream, it's totally worth it. And I don't have to worry about buying an express pass. So um express passes are added on to your ticket as well. You don't like if you bought an express pass for $150, does not get you into the parks. You have to buy a ticket or a frequent fear pass. One of the options. So and that's all of them. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's all of them. All of the things that you book, you have to have a ticket to get into the park. on top of that with the fee. So definitely keep that in mind. The last one that we want to talk about is Halloween Horror Nights Ultimate Frequent Fear Pass, and that is 48 nights, and it is starting from $399 and 99 cents plus tax. So that'll put you into the 400s for that one. I guess I'll read this last one, then we'll get into what's going on. Halloween Horror Nights RIP tour. Um, the oh, we already talked about that, I think, right? We already talked RIP. I think we did because I said how much it was. Yeah, 369. Did I have the same? Do I have the same graphic? Yeah. Okay. Um, so again, the RIP tour is you get your own personal tour guide, Howling Horror Nights. They fill you in on all the backstories with all of the houses. You get free food, and I think non-alcoholic drinks as well included with that. You get to skip the line. You get to go to the front of the line. They tell you about the scare zones. You spend some times in the scare zones, each of them. Then they tell you the stories about them. Um, every video that I've ever watched, they are so good at that. Like those RIP tour guides are probably some of the best tour guides in all the parks for any of the parks when they do those VIP things around both Universal and Disney. Definitely want to try it one time. I think we will, but definitely more costly. It's a lot of money. So we'll have to save up for it one time and one day. Okay, let's do it. Let's talk about what is going on at Universal Studios currently as far as frequent fear is concerned. So I was on X and um, I had been following this, and I didn't know this was going to become an issue, and I don't think many people did. There was quite a reaction to this, but Universal Studios Orlando tweeted this back to some of the guests that were trying to buy some of the frequent fear pass with Express. So each of the frequent fear passes, you when you go in to buy it, will have just the pass, and then you can buy it with Express for the rest of the season. And they like their cost, like they range up to like $600 to $1,000 to add on Express the whole event. So like this means every night you go, you get Express. It's expensive. Lots of people do it. Um, they did it last year. Tons of people did this last year. They did not pay for individual ones. They paid for they just bit the bullet and bought the add-on of, I mean, I'm talking like these express passes, adding them on to like the frequent fear passes are like 400 to $500. Like it's a lot. Like you're paying a ton for these. Well, Universal Studios people started tweeting at them because they noticed they couldn't add the option to add Express to your ticket for the whole event for the rest of the time. Um, Horror Nights and Universal came out and said Halloween Horror Nights Ultimate Frequent Fear Pass with Express, Frequent Fear Plus with Express, and Frequent Fear with Express are currently sold out. So all of the Express add-ons to your Frequent Fear passes, you cannot buy them right now. And it says currently sold out. A couple things. I think that is on purpose, the currently part. I think they will again sell these. Um, I think it will be limited when they sell them again. There, I think was from what I'd gathered, there were a lot of guests that complained about uh, Express Pass last year, and there were some issues. We bought Express Pass for the first night because we did it the year before. 2022, we bought Express Pass. Ashley and I did. We did every single house and got done by like 1 a.m. Every single house. It was great, and that's a really crowded night. That's really hard to do. Last year, we did Express Pass, and I mean, we were like booking it to different houses. We weren't running. We were walking very briskly to houses, and I literally think it was past 2 a.m. So it we had some issues in Chucky with Express. There was way too many people. Like, I'm serious. We saw some of the Express lines last year. They were insane. Like they were longer than half the houses were sometimes. So um I'm interested to see what Universal does with this. Another thing to consider with this is that they still do have a lot of tickets, I think, available for the premium Scream Night because you can still buy them, the tickets into that event. I'm interested to see um, how much that event fills up now that these are no longer an option because it's pretty similar now. If you bought the frequent fear and the premium Scream Night, it's obviously a little bit more expensive. but not by much. It's like $100, 100, no, $200. So will people bite it? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I and Universal might just be, where they allotted some and they're like, well, we're gonna give 'em more. Just calm down. But it does hit people high strung about the other frequent fear passes, just the regular ones. People are like, are they gonna sell out those too? So I need to buy mine tonight because you never know. It would kind of suck to not have frequent fear and for the HHN events this year. But yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. But that was the latest from Universal Studios Orlando. So, like I said, the express passes that you could add on to all of your frequent fear options are no longer available right now. Right now, but we'll see. A couple other things that they did announce: pass holders will be among the first to access Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store with a preview on August 28th from 11 a.m. to park close. So if you are a annual pass holder to Universal Studios, head over there on the 28th of August, which is the night before or the day before Halloween Horror Nights, and check out the merch and the tribute store. And then from October 1st through November 3rd, which is the range in which Halloween Horror Nights runs, 2024, the pass holders will be able to get a free Universal Annual Pass exclusive magnet. I'm assuming it'll be a Halloween Horror Nights one, or like some kind of pumpkin scary themed one, scary-ish. So I'm excited to see what that is. I'm telling you, Universal Studios does a great job with their annual pass stuff. If you're an annual pass holder, go to your app or go to the section of annual pass perks on their website. There are so many. It's insane. So I love that. I love what Universal does with their annual pass holders. I love this event. I'm so excited for this event. We've now got the 9 houses. My favorite house will probably be the one that's announced later on is the 10th because Universal Monsters always ends up really high on my list after every season. Can't wait to do a hype list, go out and check out some of the construction. I'm assuming that'll take place next week. Hopefully, we're starting to get to the point where they're going to start putting stuff out for Halloween Horror Nights. You're going to see some props pop up. You're going to see some lighting rigs. That's exciting. But we're going to start to see some on stage things happening for Halloween Horror Nights in the next coming weeks. So thrilled about that. Can't wait to check out the merchandise. We're going to head out there, I think, on Sunday. Film their new mega movie parade because telling you, I can't wait to show you. I'm going to wait till next podcast to show you pictures and video from when I go out there. And we'll also have like a video of the mega movie, and I'm going to go live on TikTok, I think, as well as we're filming that. But we're going to check it out because it truly is one of the best looking parades that I've ever seen parks do. So I'm very thrilled about that. Can't wait to check that out. Going to go out there in Universal, see what's going on, see if there's any more Epic Universe merchandise. So head over to my YouTube channel and TikTok, and we will be posting there. And you can see the mega movie, and might even stay live a little bit and walk around Universal Studios Orlando and kind of show you some HHN merch and anything that we might see as far as Halloween Horror Nights. And then hopefully we're talking about another house, maybe if it's announced tomorrow, and some of the scare zones if they're announced tomorrow as well. I'm hoping we get the full lineup before the weekend, which I feel like is possible. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thanks if you've watched or listened. I know the slides were a little messy this time again. I'm still trying to get the hang of how I'm doing this, and it's harder to do when you're talking, the one talking, and you're trying to do the clicking. So I'm trying to get better with that one. But again, if you're interested in maybe jumping on as a guest, just message me and we'll see what we can do and arrange that. I'm looking forward to doing a hype list for Halloween Horror Nights when they do drop the 10th house. But yeah, other than that, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We hope to see you guys on the next one, or it will hopefully you get to hear us in the next one if you are subscribed to the podcast audio version. So head over to YouTube, check us out, subscribe there. We got not only the podcast but videos, 2 or 3 weekly. So go over there, subscribe, like on Instagram, Twitter. We met Behind the Castle on all of those, except for X. X is Behind Castle because we met Behind the Castle. I don't think was short enough, so we had to shorten a little bit. But you can find us anywhere on socials by just searching "We Met Behind the Castle," and you can find us there. But yeah, thanks for listening. We hope to see you guys next time, and enjoy the weekend and the rest of your week next week.